The night before Christmas dinner, my daughter-in-law looked me straight in the eye and said, "Tomorrow, don't sit with us at the table. You embarrass the family." So I smiled, said nothing, and the next morning, I made one phone call. Within an hour, their entire luxury Christmas vacation was canceled. And yes, they deserved every second of it. My name is Eleanor, but everyone calls me Ellie. I'm 72 years old, and I've learned something important in all these years. Sometimes the quietest revenge is the loudest statement. Before I tell you exactly what I did and why it felt so incredibly satisfying, I'd love to know where you're watching this from. Drop your city or state in the comments below. Are you watching from Texas? California? Maybe you're all the way in Maine like me. I love seeing where my stories reach. Now, let me take you back to last Christmas Eve, because what happened that night changed everything in my family. And I mean everything. I need to give you some context first. I'm a widow. My husband Daniel passed away 4 years ago from a heart attack, sudden and devastating. We'd been married for 47 years. After he died, I sold our large house. Too many memories, too many empty rooms, and moved into a comfortable 2-bedroom condo near the coast. The life insurance policy Daniel left me was generous. He'd always been a planner, always worried about making sure I'd be taken care of. I have one son, Marcus. He's 45, works in finance, and honestly, he was always a good boy growing up. Respectful, kind, hardworking. When he married Jessica 8 years ago, I tried so hard to welcome her into our family. I really did. Jessica came from money, old money, the kind that gets passed down through generations with summer homes and country club memberships. Her parents owned a real estate development company, and she'd grown up in a world very different from mine and Daniel's. We were middle class, worked hard for everything we had, saved carefully, and lived within our means. At first, Jessica was polite enough to me. Not warm exactly, but cordial. But over the years, I started noticing little things. The way she'd correct my grammar at family dinners, how she'd exchange looks with Marcus when I'd talk about my activities at the senior center, the subtle comments about my clothes being dated or my opinions being old-fashioned. I let it slide. I told myself I was being too sensitive. She was young, from a different generation, and maybe I just needed to try harder to connect with her. I tried inviting them over for dinner. Jessica would say yes, then cancel at the last minute. Marcus has to work late. We're just so exhausted. The kids have been fighting off colds. I'd spent hours cooking, the table set with my good china, and I'd eat alone while the food went cold. I tried taking an interest in Jessica's world. I asked about her work fundraising, for the Arts Council, about her yoga classes, about her friends. She'd give me one-word answers while scrolling through her phone, but if I mentioned my own activities, the book club I'd joined at the library, the watercolor painting class I was taking, her eyes would glaze over. Sometimes she wouldn't even pretend to listen. Then they had children, 2 beautiful grandchildren, Sophia, who just turned 6, and little Connor, who's 4. I love those kids with everything in me. After Daniel died, they became my whole world. I'd babysit every week, sometimes twice a week. I'd take them to the park, read them stories, bake cookies with them. Sophia would climb into my lap and say, "Grandma Ellie, you're my favorite person in the whole world." But over the last 2 years, something shifted. Jessica started finding reasons why I couldn't babysit as often. She'd say the kids had activities or they needed more structured time. When I did see them, Jessica would hover, correcting how I did things. "We don't give them sugar before bedtime, Eleanor. We're teaching them proper table manners, so please don't let them eat with their hands. Could you not let them get so dirty when they play?" I bit my tongue. I followed her rules. I just wanted to see my grandchildren. Last summer, Marcus and Jessica bought a new house. A mansion, really. 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a pool, the works. It must have cost close to $2 million. They threw a housewarming party and invited all their friends, Jessica's family and me. I remember standing in their enormous kitchen with marble countertops and professional-grade appliances, holding a glass of wine, feeling completely out of place. Jessica's mother, Patricia, cornered me near the French doors leading to the patio. "It's so wonderful that Marcus has done so well for himself," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "Jessica tells me you live in a small condo now. That must be quite an adjustment after having a real home." I smiled tightly. "It's perfect for my needs." "Well," she continued, glancing at my dress, a nice floral print I'd bought on sale at Macy's. "At least you don't have to worry about keeping up appearances anymore." I watched Jessica across the room, laughing with her friends, women in designer clothes holding champagne flutes. One of them glanced my way, and Jessica leaned in to whisper something. They all looked at me. One of them tried to hide a smile. I knew in that moment what she was saying. I could feel it in my bones. I excused myself and found Marcus in his study. "Honey," I said carefully, "I'm feeling a bit tired. I think I'll head home." He looked up from his phone, distracted. "Already? We haven't even cut the cake yet." "I know, I'm sorry. It's just been a long day." He hugged me goodbye, but there was something distant in it, like he was going through the motions. That summer faded into fall, and fall into winter. The holidays were approaching, and I was excited. Christmas had always been our special time as a family. Daniel and I used to host every year, a big dinner with all the trimmings, carols playing, presents piled under the tree. 3 weeks before Christmas, Marcus called me. "Hey Mom, so Jessica and I have been talking and we want to host Christmas dinner this year at our place. Make it a new tradition." My heart swelled. "Oh, Marcus, that would be wonderful. I'd love to help. I can bring my sweet potato casserole and the pecan pie I always make. And maybe—" "Actually, Mom, Jessica wants to handle all the food. She's hired a caterer. You just need to show up." Something in his tone made me pause. "Okay, that's fine. What time should I be there?" "Dinner's at 6. We're doing it formal this year. Jessica's parents will be there, her brother and his wife, and a few of our close friends." "Formal?" I repeated. "Yeah, nice dress, the whole thing. It'll be fun." After we hung up, I sat there feeling unsettled, but I pushed it away. This was good, right? My son wanted me at Christmas dinner. I was being included. I went shopping the next week and bought a new dress, navy blue with a modest neckline, hitting just below the knee. It cost more than I usually spent, but I wanted to look nice. I wanted Jessica to see that I could fit into her world. The weeks passed. Every time I called to ask if I could see the grandkids or if they needed any help with preparations, Jessica had an excuse. "We're so busy with the holidays, Eleanor. Maybe after New Year's." Then came Christmas Eve. Marcus called me that morning. "Hey, Mom, can you come over around 4? Jessica wants to go over some details about tomorrow." I should have known something was wrong. I should have felt it. But I didn't. I arrived at their house at 4 o'clock sharp, carrying a box of the kids' favorite cookies I'd baked, chocolate chip with extra chips, the way Sophia liked them. Jessica answered the door wearing yoga pants and a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than my monthly condo fees. "Eleanor," she said, not quite meeting my eyes. "Come in. Marcus is putting the kids down for a nap." I followed her into that massive kitchen. She poured herself a glass of white wine but didn't offer me any. We stood on opposite sides of the marble island. "So," she began, her voice carefully neutral, "I wanted to talk to you about tomorrow." "Of course. I'm so looking forward to it." She took a long sip of wine. "The thing is, Eleanor, this dinner is really important to us. We're having some very influential people here. Marcus's boss, some potential clients, my parents, of course." I nodded, waiting. "And we need everything to be perfect. You understand?" "Of course I do. It sounds lovely." She set her glass down with a soft click. "The thing is, we've arranged the seating very specifically. We have a children's table set up in the sunroom for Sophia and Connor and their cousins." "That's nice," I said, though I felt a small pang. I'd hoped to sit near the kids. Jessica took a breath. "And we've arranged the adult seating in the dining room. It's going to be quite formal, very elegant. We're trying to make a certain impression. Something cold crept up my spine. Eleanor, I'm just going to be direct with you because I think that's kinder in the long run. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and her eyes were hard. Tomorrow, when you come for dinner, I need you to not sit with us at the main table. You embarrass the family. The words hit me like a physical blow. I actually took a step back. What? You just... She waved her hand vaguely. You don't fit in with this crowd. The way you dress, the things you talk about, those stories you tell about the senior center and your friends there. Marcus's boss doesn't want to hear about your book club or your aqua aerobics class. My parents find your conversation limited. I couldn't breathe properly. Jessica, I don't understand. You want me to come to Christmas dinner but not sit at the table? There's a breakfast nook off the kitchen. It's actually quite charming. You can eat there and then join us for dessert in the living room. That way you're still included, but... She trailed off as if the rest was obvious. But I won't embarrass you, I finished, my voice barely above a whisper. I'm glad you understand. She actually smiled, like she'd just solved a difficult problem. I knew you'd be reasonable about this. You're always so agreeable. My hands were shaking. I gripped my purse tighter. Jessica, I'm 72 years old. I raised a good son. I was married for 47 years to a wonderful man. I volunteered at the Children's Hospital for 20 years. I taught Sunday school. I'm not nothing. Her smile faded slightly. Eleanor, I'm not saying you're nothing. Don't twist my words. I'm simply saying that tomorrow's dinner is about a certain type of person, a certain level of sophistication, and I don't meet that level. You're making this harder than it needs to be, she said, her voice cooling. I'm trying to be considerate of your feelings while also being practical. You could just say, thank you for still being included and move on. I stood there, 72 years old, being told by my daughter-in-law that I wasn't good enough to sit at my own son's Christmas table, that I was an embarrassment, that I should be grateful for scraps. Does Marcus know about this? I asked. Something flickered across her face. Marcus understands that this dinner is important for his career. He trusts me to handle the details. Did you tell him you're banishing his mother to eat, alone in the kitchen? Her expression hardened. Don't be so dramatic, Eleanor. You're still invited. Many people would be grateful just to be included. That's when Marcus walked in, completely oblivious to what had just happened. Hey, Mom, the kids are asking for you. They want to show you their new playroom before you leave. I looked at my son. This man I'd raised, who I'd sat with through midnight fevers and homework struggles and heartbreaks, who I'd worked 2 jobs to help put through college, who used to call me every Sunday just to chat. Actually, Marcus, I need to get going. Long drive home. But the kids, tell them Grandma will see them soon. I grabbed my purse, my hands shaking. Jessica stood there with her wine glass, her face impassive. I made it to my car before the tears came. I sat in their circular driveway with its perfect landscaping and expensive stone pavers, and I cried. Not delicate tears, ugly, gasping sobs that shook my whole body. How had I become this? An embarrassment? Something to be hidden away? Then, slowly, the tears stopped, and something else took their place. Anger. Pure, crystalline anger. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. I'd been thinking about this in the back of my mind for a while, actually. 3 months ago, Marcus had called me asking for a favor. He and Jessica were planning a luxury vacation to the Bahamas right after Christmas. 2 weeks at a private resort, the works. But there'd been some issue with their credit utilization, something about a big purchase affecting their borrowing capacity temporarily. Mom, could you put the resort on your credit card? It's $18,000. We'll pay you back immediately in January when things settle. It would really help us out. I'd said yes, of course. What mother wouldn't? I'd put $18,000 on my credit card, the whole vacation package, resort fees, flights, excursions, everything. They were supposed to leave on December 26th, the day after Christmas. They still hadn't paid me back. "It's coming, Mom, I promise. Just some delays with the year-end bonuses." I sat in that car and I looked at my credit card statement on my phone. The charge was there, $18,000 to Paradise Bay Resort and Spa, Bahamas. I thought about calling Marcus, asking him if he knew, asking him to stand up for me. But then I remembered all the times over the past 2 years when I'd bitten my tongue, all the little humiliations I'd swallowed, all the times I'd made myself smaller to make Jessica comfortable. I thought about Daniel. What would he say if he were here? He'd be furious. He'd have driven right back to that house and told Marcus exactly what he thought. But Daniel wasn't here. I was alone. And I'd been alone in this fight for a very long time. I thought about my grandchildren, about Sophia saying I was her favorite person in the whole world. How long before Jessica poisoned that? How long before they started seeing me the way she did, as an embarrassment, as someone limited and unsophisticated? And I made a decision. I didn't call Marcus. I didn't call Jessica. I drove home, and when I got there, I poured myself a large glass of wine, something I rarely do, and I thought about everything. About Daniel and the life we'd built, about raising Marcus to be kind and respectful, about the grandmother I tried to be, about being told I was an embarrassment. Then I called the resort. My hands were shaking as I dialed. This was real. This wasn't just anger talking or hurt feelings. I was about to do something that couldn't be undone. The phone rang once, twice. I could still hang up. I could pretend I'd never thought of this. I could show up tomorrow, eat in that breakfast nook, smile and be agreeable like Jessica said I always was. Third ring. I thought about Daniel again, about the day he died, how I'd held his hand in the emergency room and promised him I'd be okay, that I'd take care of myself, that I wouldn't let anyone make me feel small. I'd broken that promise. For 2 years, I'd let myself be diminished. Fourth ring. Not anymore. Paradise Bay Resort, this is Monica speaking. How may I help you? Yes, hello, I need to cancel a reservation. The confirmation number is... I read it off my statement. One moment, please. I heard typing. Ah, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Marcus Sullivan, checking in December 26th for 14 nights. Presidential suite package. That's correct. I need to cancel the entire reservation. May I ask who's calling? I'm Eleanor Sullivan. The credit card on file is mine. More typing. Yes, I see that, Mrs. Sullivan. I should inform you that this is a non-refundable rate. You'll forfeit the entire amount. I closed my eyes. $18,000. Gone. Just like that. But then I thought about Jessica's face, the casual cruelty in her voice. You embarrass the family? I understand, I said. Please cancel it. Are you certain? There's no reversal once I process this. I'm absolutely certain. Cancel the reservation. Very well. The reservation has been canceled. You should see the notification on your email shortly. Is there anything else I can help you with? No, thank you. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well. I hung up and sat in the silence of my condo. The Christmas tree I decorated stood in the corner, twinkling with lights. Presents for Sophia and Connor sat wrapped underneath. A doll Sophia had been wanting, a train set for Connor. I'd spent weeks shopping for them, trying to find the perfect gifts. My hands had stopped shaking. My breathing had steadied. I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Powerful. Not because I'd hurt them, though I knew this would hurt them, but because I'd finally drawn a line. I'd finally said, "This is how you treat me? Then this is the consequence." Jessica wanted me to be grateful for scraps. Instead, I'd taken back my dignity. My phone rang at 8:30. Marcus. I let it go to voicemail. He called again at 8:45, then 9. Then Jessica called. Then Marcus again. I turned off my phone and went to bed. I woke up Christmas morning to my phone exploding with notifications. I turned it back on to see 23 missed calls, 17 from Marcus, 6 from Jessica. There were also 12 text messages. Marcus, Mom, call me, emergency. Marcus, Mom, call me now. Jessica, Eleanor, what have you done? Marcus, Mom, please, we need to talk about the resort. They said the reservation was canceled. There must be a mistake. Jessica. Eleanor, I swear to God, if this is what I think it is. Jessica. Call me back right now. I made myself coffee and sat at my kitchen table, looking out at the ocean in the distance. It was a beautiful morning, crisp and cold, the kind Daniel and I used to love. I imagined them at their house right now. The panic, Jessica's fury, the desperate calls to the resort, probably being told the same thing over and over. The reservation holder canceled it. It's non-refundable. There's nothing we can do. I imagined their bags packed and sitting by the door, the kids excited about the beach, and then having to tell them the trip was canceled. I took a sip of my coffee. It was good coffee, nothing fancy, just the kind I liked. My phone rang again. Marcus, I answered. Mom! He was nearly shouting. What happened? The resort called this morning and said our reservation was canceled. They said you called yesterday and canceled it. That can't be right. Tell me that's not right. It's right, I said calmly. Silence. Then, what? Why would you... Mom, we're supposed to leave tomorrow. This is our vacation. We've been planning this for months. Marcus, do you know what Jessica said to me yesterday? What are you talking about? Mom, this isn't about whatever little spat you two had. This is about our vacation. $18,000. Do you know what you've done? Little spat. That's what he called it. Your wife, I said, my voice steady, told me not to sit at the Christmas dinner table today. She told me I embarrassed the family. She wanted me to eat alone in the kitchen while everyone else celebrated together. Another pause. Mom, that's... Jessica said you misunderstood. She was just trying to arrange the seating. I didn't misunderstand anything, Marcus. She was very clear. Look, Mom, we can talk about this later. Right now, I need you to call the resort back and reinstate the reservation. Please. The kids were so excited. Jessica's been planning... No. What do you mean, no? I mean, no. I paid for that vacation. It was my money, my credit card, and I've decided to cancel it. You can't do this. His voice was rising toward hysteria now. Mom, this is insane. Over a seating arrangement? It wasn't about seating, Marcus. It was about respect. It was about your wife telling me I'm not good enough to sit with my own family on Christmas. Oh my God, Mom, you're being so dramatic. Jessica was just trying to make sure dinner went smoothly. You know how you can be sometimes. How I can be, I interrupted. How exactly, Marcus? Tell me. What is it about your mother that's so embarrassing? He sputtered. That's not... I didn't mean... Mom, you're twisting everything. Look, I'll talk to Jessica, okay? We'll figure something out for dinner. Just please, please call the resort. I'm not coming to dinner, I said. What? I'm not coming to your Christmas dinner, Marcus. Enjoy your meal. Enjoy your friends and your important guests and your perfect table. But I won't be there. Mom, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. Merry Christmas, Marcus. I hung up. The phone rang immediately. I declined the call. It rang again and again. Finally, I texted Marcus. Stop calling. My decision is final. Spend Christmas with your wife. Then I turned off my phone again. I spent Christmas Day alone. I watched old movies, ate some leftovers, and looked through photo albums. Pictures of Marcus as a baby, as a little boy, his high school graduation, his wedding day, the day Sophia was born, and then Connor. Every milestone I'd been there, and now I was an embarrassment. Around 3 p.m, someone started pounding on my door, hard, aggressive knocking. I looked through the peephole. Marcus stood there, his face red, his hair disheveled. I opened the door. Mom, let me in. We need to talk. I don't think we do. He pushed past me anyway, pacing my small living room like a caged animal. Do you have any idea what you've done? Any idea at all? I canceled a vacation I paid for. Yes, I'm aware. It was non-refundable. $18,000 gone. Just gone, because you got your feelings hurt. My feelings hurt? I repeated slowly. Is that what you think this is about? What else would it be about? Jesus, Mom, Jessica said she tried to talk to you about the seating arrangements, and you completely overreacted. She was trying to make things comfortable for everyone. Comfortable for everyone except me. She said there just wasn't room at the main table. We have 14 people coming. Marcus, I said quietly, stop, just stop and listen to yourself. You're defending her telling me to eat alone in the kitchen on Christmas. You're defending her saying, I embarrass the family. And you're more upset about losing a vacation than about how your wife treated your mother. He stopped pacing. Something flickered across his face. Recognition, maybe guilt, but then his jaw tightened. You don't understand the pressure I'm under, he said. Jessica's family has expectations. My job has expectations. I can't just be kind to your mother? That's not fair. There's always room for family, Marcus, unless you're ashamed of that family. He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I recognized from his childhood when he was frustrated. I'm not ashamed of you, that's ridiculous. Then why did your wife think it was appropriate to tell me to eat in the kitchen? Why did she say I embarrass the family? And why, Marcus, are you here yelling at me about money instead of asking me if I'm okay? That stopped him. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. When's the last time you called me just to talk? I continued. Not to ask for money or a favor, just to see how I was doing? We talk all the time. We don't. You're busy, and I understand that. But when did I become someone to be managed and hidden away? When did I stop being your mother and become an obligation? His face was pale now. That's not fair. Your wife told me I'm limited, that my conversation isn't interesting enough for your friends, that the way I dress isn't good enough, and you're here defending her. I'm not defending. He stopped, seeming to realize he was, in fact, defending her. Mom, Jessica shouldn't have said those things. But canceling our vacation, that's nuclear. That's not like you. Maybe you don't know what I'm like anymore. We stood there in my living room, this space that Daniel and I had chosen together, that I'd made into a home after losing him. This man in front of me was my son, but looking at him now, I felt like I was looking at a stranger. I need you to call the resort, he said finally. Please, Mom, I'm asking you. We can't afford to book another vacation right now. The kids will be devastated. You should have thought about that before you let your wife treat me that way. I'll talk to her. I'll make sure she apologizes. We'll do better, I promise. But please, Mom, please. I shook my head. The reservation is canceled. It's done. There's no undoing it. His face went from pleading to something uglier. You know what? Fine, fine. Enjoy your lonely Christmas in your little condo. Enjoy being bitter and alone. But don't expect me to come running back when you realize what you've done. He stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the frames on my walls. I sat down on my couch and realized I wasn't crying. I felt strangely calm, strangely clear. I'd made my choice, and I'd live with it. The next day, Boxing Day, the day they should have been flying to the Bahamas, my phone stayed silent. Marcus didn't call. Jessica didn't call. But 2 days later, I got a text from my son. Mom, we need to talk. Can I come over? Yes, I replied. He arrived that afternoon, alone. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, his shoulders slumped. We sat at my kitchen table, and for a long moment, neither of us spoke. Jessica and I had a big fight, he finally said. About you, about everything. I waited. I talked to her about what she said to you, really talked to her. And Mom, he rubbed his face. I've been a terrible son. Marcus, no, let me say this. I've been so caught up in trying to impress people, in keeping up with Jessica's lifestyle, in being who I thought I needed to be. I forgot who mattered. I let Jessica say things about you that I should never have tolerated. I let her push you out of our lives. And when you tried to tell me, I called it drama. Tears were running down his face now. You know what the worst part is? I knew. Deep down, I knew she was treating you badly. I saw it happening. But it was easier to pretend I didn't notice than to stand up to her. It was easier to let you be hurt than to risk my marriage or my comfortable life. What kind of son does that make me?" "A human one," I said softly. "An imperfect one, like all of us." "I don't know how to fix this," he whispered. "I don't know if I can." I reached across the table and took his hand. "You're here. That's a start." "We can't afford another vacation," he said with a bitter laugh. "Turns out we've been living way beyond our means. The house, the cars, keeping up with her parents. We're in debt, Mom. Serious debt. I didn't even realize how bad it had gotten." "Oh, Marcus." The canceled vacation was kind of a wake-up call. Jessica's furious with me because I told her we need to make changes. Real changes. She's talking about divorce. My heart ached for him, even after everything. "What do you want?" "I want my kids to know their grandmother," he said. "I want them to grow up knowing the woman who raised me, who taught me about kindness and integrity, things I seem to have forgotten. I want to be better. For them. For you. For myself." We talked for 3 hours that day. Really talked. He told me about the financial pressure, the stress, how he'd been trying so hard to be someone he wasn't. I told him how lonely I'd been, how much I missed him and the grandchildren, how much Jessica's words had hurt. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't fixed, but it was honest. "I don't expect you to forgive me right away," he said as he was leaving, "but I'm going to prove to you that I can be the son you raised. I promise." That was last year. Marcus and Jessica did divorce. She couldn't handle the lifestyle changes he insisted on. He sold the mansion, downsized to something reasonable, and started rebuilding his finances. More importantly, he started rebuilding our relationship. Now, Marcus and the kids come over every Sunday for dinner. Sophia still climbs into my lap and tells me stories. Connor helps me bake cookies, getting flour everywhere. And on Christmas Day, we had dinner together at my condo, just the 4 of us with paper plates and store-bought ham, and it was perfect. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stand up for yourself, even when it costs you something. Especially when it costs you something. Because respect isn't something you can beg for or buy. It's something you teach people you deserve. And I do deserve it, even at 72, even as a widow, even as just me. Thank you for listening to my story.